Everybody out there, it's been taking us a while to get going because the software that we use is absolute rubbish. It's OBS, and I think the BS is quite apt for how well it doesn't work. But I've got a special guest here in the studio, which those of you who tuned into Zoe's live stream last night might have recognised. And, we've got Brian. Are you...
Yep, hello.
It should just, it picks you up front. It's a good microphone, this.
It is, yeah.
I'm leaning in, but people are just going, oh, God, that's loud. But yeah, we got people. We got who's in the house? Andrew Keeley is in the house. Hello to you. We got Charles Curtis. Hi to you. And today I just thought I'd shoot the breeze with my friend Brian. We've been hard at work doing stuff, and we did lose track of time a little bit, but we've been trying desperately to get the microphone to work for a little bit. In fact, let's just bring us full screen. I've got my little cheat sheet down here, just us on screen. Boom. So there you are, Brian. You can work out. My hair looks horrible. So, you talk to the people, and hi to you, Philip Page. I'm just going to go and brush my hair because it looks horrible.
Hi, how are you doing? Let's see who we got in there. We've got Philip Page, Mark Rice. How are you doing? The Growler. Okay. Well, I recognise that. Huge 37 fan myself. Aidan, hello. How are you doing? Good to see you. Yeah, I've not been on this chat before with Jenny, but if on the different videos that Jenny's done recently, there was a Through the Railway Room Door, which had quite a few of the models that I've got in my setup. So yeah, some of you might recognise him from there. So yeah, that's a very slow project that I'm doing. It's getting there at the moment. It's about halfway done on a new layout that I'm doing called Northcote. So Jenny's back. Yeah,
I am back, and you've got a YouTube channel as well.
Yeah.
You keep asking me to plug you, so there you are. Plug yourself.
It's Northcote Road, and it's based in north of England. Things like it's kind of present day really. Goes back to the start of privatisation, so it's sort of like from the regional railway era up to present day.
And is that your YouTube handle? You're
Northcote Road, yeah.
So Northcote Road is the name of your YouTube channel. Yeah, I mean we've done, as I've heard Brian saying, we did a visit through the railway room door and kind of had a good look around, and we got quite a lot of people looking at those. Because you're big on your DCC sound, aren't you?
It's my guilty pleasure, I'm afraid.
He'd fit DCC sound to a toaster if he could. Oh, my word. Andrew Keeley. Oh, my word. Thank you very much. We just had a generous donation on the Super Chat from Andrew Keeley for my next bottle of Sambuca. Well, great. Well, I'm not drinking Sambuca at the moment. I'm on Strongbow Dark Fruits because it was to hand when we panicked and went, oh no, we're going to be late for the live stream. But thank you very much. That is super, super generous. See, who else have we got? Game Hammer Classic Gaming. That's Zoe. Looking good, guys. Yep, we got it working in the end. Devans GWR, hi to you. Ed Toll, Mr. Start, who are you? We haven't missed much. We've only just started, actually, at the moment. This is Brian, and he's a long-time friend of mine, but also you've been on the Through the Railway Room Door video, so people have got a chance to see your home layout. I would just say you're on YouTube as Northcote Road.
Yeah.
So you're putting odd videos up there as well. See, Castle Junction, hi to you. David Traintime, hi to you. Angus's Trains. Jenny, watch my A-Pill Dolls video, please. Jenny, Angus. Oh, well, Angus's Trains is a long-time friend of the channel, so let's go and see if we can find that. So we've got Castle Junction, hi to you. Devans GW4, I'd rather have a dark fruits than a wife. I presume that's an advertising slogan or something. I don't watch TV, so it's news to me. Let me just, where are we? Come here. Unfortunately, this computer's somehow set up to use YouTube beta, and it's terrible. Don't use YouTube beta because you can't find anything. Here we go. Let's have a look. Which video was it, Angus, that you were cooking with? Is this just right? Hold on. 8. There we are. Which one are we looking for? Let me know, Angus. Which video were we looking at? You wanted me to have a look at. Are we? My mum's iMac uses YouTube beta April Fools. Yeah, YouTube beta is a bit of an April Fool's. But actually, the video you've got, which I do really like, is the Hunter Valley Steam Fest. You got some spinning beach ball of death. I must admit, you've got some pretty good stuff going on there. And it's these are museums, the Hunter Valley Railway, and remind me, I can't remember the. Oh, Angus, April Fool's video. I don't say. Am I being played here?
I think you might be. Yeah.
We got your show me the tank engine review. It's the April Fools in the UK. I think you're only supposed to do it before midday, and it's coming up on 9.
I suppose depending on where you live, I suppose it's going to be. I don't know. Do you think anyone like it's that far behind us?
Well said, well played, that gentleman. Well played. So you're doing live streaming as well. But right, everybody got to remember. Angus is in Australia, where I believe it's probably about 9-10 o'clock in the morning. So technically, Angus is correct, and he has played us. And if we're in his time zone, then good move, good play, well played. But in the UK, it's 8:45 in the evening, so the time zones are always something that comes into play when you're doing live streaming. 6 in the morning, right? Gosh, so well played, sir. Well played. We doff our caps to you. We've been played.
Fair enough.
But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put us. Oh, there we are. Got us all back on the screen. Where was I? You've played us good there, Angus. Played us good. Oh, 6 millimeter.
What? We'll sort out a link for that shortly, Philip. He was asking for he can't find my page.
Oh right, yeah. Well, hold on.
Oh, Hans did an April Fool's vid apparently.
Oh, did they?
Ah.
Well, actually, yeah. The Hattons are pretty good. They do get the pro. I've been so busy all day, it's never occurred to me that it's April 1st. But you're on here as Northcote.
I think it should come up as Northcote Road, but yeah.
We're gonna have a look. Oh, I see what.
Right. Yeah. Bearing in mind it's a new channel, so it's going to be way down that list somewhere. I think at the moment there's like 2 followers because I've only done a few short videos. So
if you go to filter, and then pick channel. So I'll bring up there. This is you got 3 subscribers. You just picked up a subscriber.
Fantastic.
So. You've not got many videos up there at the moment, but particularly impressed by your viaduct there. What's that viaduct at the back?
Right, I actually bought that already made like that, but that is actually a Will's kit.
Oh, so that's the
sorry,
Will's...
is it a Will's kit?
Oh, it's
no,
the Metcalf.
It's a Metcalf one, sorry, yeah. Now, those kits are very, very cheap. I think they're about £15-16. Now I bought that off eBay. Somebody else had already made, and I picked that up for a tenner. And I think it's the best tenner on eBay I've ever spent. Really a proper rigid kit. You can take a lot of weight on them and everything. Really well built and everything. So yeah, really impressed with that. If we had more room and layout, I'd actually have a couple more of those.
Yeah. What about your engine shed there? Is that a scale scenes?
It is indeed. Yeah. Actually, I'm just waiting to finish on the gluing on that at the moment because the ballast is down. I've got the concrete effect floor down inside the shed and everything with all the tools and things. So I've done a lot of work on detailing that, but I need to glue the ballast down first before I do another vid. Because at the moment, if I sneeze, there'll be a big mess.
Yeah. So, how are you getting on with ballasting? Are you finding it easy enough to do, or is that the daunting?
That's why I keep asking you to come and do my ballasting for me. I'm useless at it.
I must see, ballasting is you know, it's where I'm at. You know, it's my
Yeah.
people. I wouldn't say that ballasting is something that, you know, that I love doing, but I don't mind doing it. I find it relaxing. I think you have to be in the right mood. And so, there we are. Philip Page, you just got yourself a sub.
Thank you very
Aiden
much.
0206, you've got a sub there. Andrew Keeley, Beach Ball of Death. Yeah, we had that with OBS. That was one of
Yeah.
the things that we were suffering with OBS. And right, let's go back to us full screen.
There we go.
Let's have a look. Oh, right, Angus is train 6:45 in the morning. Your Thomas review called it chommy and threw it at the wall in the video. Oh, fair enough. That's a bit mean to the model. Although I must admit, there have been models over the years where sometimes you feel like just throwing it at the wall. Usually, when trying to fit back fiddly detail on a Helgen model, if it wasn't for what you paid for them, they'd be going into the wall.
Yeah, I seem to remember getting a Helljan 33 off you, and I took it out of the box and took it to a local club, and it took about 5 minutes for every last bit of detail to fall off it.
Yeah, that sounds about right. The Metropolitan Vickers Bobos are really, really bad like that. In fact, quite often you see all the detail bits in the box. The electrical pickups are rubbish. Let's have a look. Angus's trains, Fliss, FLYS. Not sure if there's a typo. Oh, Geo2204, good day again from Melbourne. Well, good day to you.
Yeah.
Good day. I don't know. The Australians probably go, oh, for God's sake. But you know,
Yeah, but do you think also? I mean, do you like make Cockney accents to kind of poke fun at us in return for us always doing the same thing with your accent? Or
Yeah. I'll be honest with you. I mean, just word for the wise. Anybody who's not from the UK, Dick Van Dyke in Mary Poppins. That's not Cockney. No. He sounds like an American doing an impression of what they think Dick Van Dyke sounds like, doing an impression of a Cockney. It's not Cockney. All right. Actually, it's more like Michael Barrymore.
Yeah, just a little bit. Yeah. Thank you very much there to Castle Junction as well.
Getting a few in there.
Yeah.
Philip Page, 8F video. Okay, well let's have a look then. Remind me, is it Philip L. Pay? No, that's not. I'm trying to find the Philip L. Pay. Oh no, is this the one? No. There's a lot of people on YouTube called Philip Page. An awful lot, actually. Let's have a... thinking laterally. Philip Page 8F. Boom. We have got you. So, yes, we have those. So this is... I recognise this 8F.
Wigan.
Is that Wigan? Oh, yeah, it is.
Northwestern, yeah.
Yeah. So I do like the 8Fs. I must say that I've got photographs somewhere of that very locomotive, but at York, probably about 12, 13 years ago. Beautiful, beautiful loco. But you look at that. The Stanyard 8F really is a pretty good design of locomotive, just aesthetically.
Yeah.
And what?
I'm just saying, you're interested in that, but you know something at the same time. I think I was more interested in the Class 150 in the background.
Yes, you were. But certainly, a Stanyard 8F is one which I don't have a model of. I've got some Hornby 001s. They're at my parents' house. I've got 48158, 48094. No, I haven't got 480. 48109 and 48073 are the three that I've got. But they were also exported around the world. I don't know if they actually got to Australia. Any of the Jenny's Monday Club in Australia. Be interested to know. Did any of these 8Fs make it to your shores? Because I know that the Robinson 8K did, and certainly the Stanya 8F, an awful lot ended up in Turkey, which is where they're now getting repatriated for being rebuilt. There's 2 at Loughborough, well, 1 at Loughborough, 1 at Ruddington, which were repatriated actually from Turkey, where they just sat in a scrap line.
I think I remember reading somewhere that one of them ended up in Austria.
Pass. There's quite a few that were in Turkey. Angus's trains, no, they didn't. Ah, right. Fair enough. I know that during the Second World War, they were one of the locos that got exported a lot. There were some that ended up and worked in China. So, funnily enough, the Stanya 8F, there were some that were running in China, I believe, up until certainly the 1980s. Let's have a look at some of the... Turn the screen to the left, not in shot. Angus Trains. Right, so let's just let's make this full screen again. There we are. Is that better? I think that's better, actually. Right, GO2204. Yes, I do have a Helgen Class 7, but I have to say I've not had any problems with it, but I haven't run it an awful lot. So yet to find out if there's problems with the pickups. Let's have a look. John Nutman, speak later. Bye for now. It's been good to have you along, and don't forget that you can catch up on the entire live stream later on. It goes up on YouTube as a full video, so you can catch any bits that you missed, rewatch anything that you want to rewatch again. But let's have a look at some of the other things people are asking. Castle Junction. I was average at maths, but I got through life okay. Actually, I always struggled with maths, but I've got an A level in maths. I've got a grade B at A level in maths, which is probably a glutton for punishment. But I always really struggled with maths, so I do have great sympathy for people who do. I had to work really hard on that. I also did chemistry and physics, and if truth be told, I coasted through those because they came naturally to me, and I got an A in both those. But maths, I really had to work at. Angus's trains, only the rod. I knew about the rail operating divisions. About 11 of those went to Australia, to John Brown. I know that the colour brown is involved, but there's also, you got some of the Class 8 shunters, but they weren't exactly the Class 8 shunters. They were built by English Electric and then exported to the Victoria State Railways and used as shunters there. But ostensibly, it's the Class 8.
I think they were more aesthetically designed on the Class 11, I think.
Class 8, that's the LMS one. Right.
Yeah, on the outside they looked more like a Class 11, more like the LMS one on the outside.
You know what? I can't tell the difference between a Class on the outside. Telling the difference between a Class 8, a Class 9, a Class 10 and a Class 11 is nigh on impossible for me. I have to go off the running number. It's the only way I can tell them apart. I know that the Class 12, which looks like a Class 8 as well, that has Firth Brown box pox wheels. Just like the spam cans and the Merchant Navy class. It's got similar wheels to those, and that's an easy way of telling a Class 12 apart. Bet you didn't know that.
I didn't know that was the Class 12 one because I get mixed up myself. But I mean, just wondering what would be the purpose in having the different kinds of wheel sets on them.
The Class 11 is the one that was built originally for the LMS, but the Class 12 was the one that was built for the Southern.
Yeah.
And I guess the Southern specified box pox wheels because that's what they were using on a lot of their other locomotives. So it's basically a design that I guess maybe to do with strength, weight saving, something or other, they favoured that type of wheel. The Class 9 I know is just essentially the higher geared version of the Class 8. So they compromised some tractive effort in return for a higher top speed, and that made them useful on the main line because they could clear sections a lot quicker. So I know the southern region of BR made a lot of use of the Class 9. In fact, I think in BR days was the Class 9 exclusively used in the southern region.
It was for quite a long time. I think it was only when EWS came along that they decided that they could use them in other areas, and they actually converted more 08s to 09s when they realised that they could use them in power stations more than anything else, moving large amounts of coal wagons around the power station without having to use the mainline loco it arrived with.
Yeah.
So places like Milford Junction and what have you, they would have an 09 there, and that would do the whole circuit with the MGR wagons.
Right.
And the loco that went in there would simply just go and sit in a side and wait,
Right,
save on
right,
fuel
with
and
you.
things like that.
Right, let's just have a look through some of the comments. I'm conscious the comments are coming in, and we're yabbering away. And
I was interested actually by one comment there from Nathan Delay a bit further down there about making scratch-built locos from soda cans or pop cans.
Whereabouts is that?
Just up a little bit.
Let's have a look.
Just there.
Where are we? Oh, I can't see if I look at Nathan Delay. I scratch build model locomotives out of soda cans or what's called pop cans and make a different locomotive from existing locomotives and combine the two to make a locomotive. Oh, right, so effectively rebody a locomotive.
Yeah.
Interesting idea, actually. I could see that working with bigger scales because soda cans, and even if you use the skinny ones, like Red Bull comes in, they're a bit on the big side for double O or HO, but I could certainly see that working in things like 016.5 is probably one that a lot of people wear. There's a lot more of these freelance type locomotives. I can see that working.
Yeah.
Right, let's have a look through some of the other comments. I'm conscious there's a lot of comments come in, and we've had also always worth mentioning that we had a very generous donation from Andrew Keeley of $10 towards my next bottle of Sambuca. So thank you again for that. Really appreciative. But let's have a look through. Hello to everybody who's joined. There's a lot of people. Caro Belga, Paul Williams, Sean Millard. How is your layout coming along now? It's coming along well. Just still working on electrics, it has to be said. Tom G, Soft Talk ASMR. Hello, how is the O Gauge Garden Railway progressing? I haven't done anything with it. It's slowly getting buried under the chip bark, and that's because birds keep digging around, and then the wind blew everything. So I needed to kind of clear the track in places. You wouldn't know there was track there. Let's have a look. Paul Williams, great channel. Keep up the good work. Well, thank you for that. It's really good of you to say. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Have a look down the comments. Let's have a look. Caro Belga, my uncle had an Airfix 14XX and it wouldn't run, so he threw it across the attic. Oh, this is going back to throwing. Angus was talking about the April Fool's video he made, throwing the Thomas the Tank Engine type thing at the wall. Yeah, and Pete, you can get really frustrated actually with some of these models when you think just work. Dodgy pickups as well. I must admit, I came close to hitting a Bachmann Class 8 with dodgy pickups because it kept stuttering on my track, and I got really angry. And then I thought, no, I know what that cost. I'm going to be more careful with it.
I think for me that'd have to be a Hornby 58.
Hornby 58.
Yeah, they can barely move themselves, no matter what you do with them. No power whatsoever.
So look, Paul Williams, love your channel. Wish I had a layout. But just remember, everybody's got room for a layout. You can do like one of those small shunting layouts. Do almost like a diorama. Yeah. If space is a big issue, sometimes it's a really good way. It's
amazing what you can do in N-gauge on a shelf layout.
Yeah, but no, even in double O or HO, within the space of not much more than the length of a loco, you can make a scenic diorama in like a shoebox or even a box file, and use it partly to display your rolling stock and locomotives, but also to give you that creative output. Let's have a look. LMRR fan 600. This is where the maths comment came from. My maths teacher called me average the other day. I said he was mean. Oh, I get that. That's a joke. Yeah, I'm median myself. But sorry it took so long to get to your joke there. Let's have a look. The Growler, Blackwood N-gauge layout. There's one at Bowness. I think we've probably...
it's a comment over 37s. That's what I recognise with the name.
Right, I'm with you. Castle Junction. So we've got Nathan Delay. We've talked about that. Castle Junction. Jenny is a clever girl. Yes, I am. Thank you very much for noticing. Oh yeah, Angus's trains. I wish model trains was a subject at school. Amen to that, actually. I think I'd have done rather well in that at school. When I went to secondary school, there had been a model railway club, but it had folded the year before I joined in the first year of secondary school. I was very disappointed, but it meant that when I discovered there was a big skip full of the old baseboards and stuff, and it was like track, there was all sorts of electric stuff just dumped there, and I went up to the office and I went, if you're chucking that out, can I have some of that? And I got a huge amount of electrical equipment, old Hornby 00 switches that I'm still using to this day. I rescued them from a skip, but the actual model railway club was defunct. Angus is trying it. It was the class 09 as shunter for the VR, which Eric German has said we called them the F class. Yeah, I knew it was the F class. Sorry, I knew. Well spotted. I was wondering who would be the first to point that out. Yeah, so class 9. So that's presumably so they can nip about a bit faster. Yeah. Whole Pole Sunshine Coast Model Railway. It's a good name, that. Hello to you both from Stuart in Caloundra, Queensland, Australia. We get a lot of Aussies in. This is great. Yeah, because I've got relatives actually who live out in. I've bored the live stream people to death with this many times. Out in Warrigal, which is somewhere. I think is that New South Wales? It's certainly down in this southern bit. They're farmers actually. They've got big farms out there. I'm not quite sure what they farm, but it's like this sort of distant wing of the family. And very occasionally, people would make the pilgrimage over there and say hello. But they emigrated in the 1920s, I think. So they're well and truly Aussies. They're several generations of Aussies, but they are relations on my father's side of the family. But I know that Warrigal is the town, which to UK ears, Warrigal sounds a very odd word, but I believe it's a bird. I think a Warrigal. I've a feeling that Warrigal is a type of bird, but the town is named after that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I think it's not dissimilar to something like a bluebird. Oh, okay. But it's probably like the Aboriginal name for something like that. But hey, right.
Train spotted southeast.
Sorry, I'm late. Back from work in the cab of Mayflower as inspected. Now that's a B1, isn't it? That's a Thompson B1. You're looking at me like you're amazed that I know these things.
No, I'm just trying not to look stupid because I know nothing about steam trains.
The trick is to just nod and go, yes. I was wondering if I was just letting you get in first. I didn't want to like take all the limelight from your live stream. I know that there's comments coming in, but just trying to get up to date. Let's have a look. Angus Trains 09 in VR colours in Australia. Castle Junction. What do you think about traction tyres? I don't like them. I really don't, because the problem with traction tyres is you get even the slightest bit of oil or dirt on them and they become slippery as anything and actually work against you. Yeah. I don't think they're a good idea myself. Angus's Trains, did you mean J&A Brown owned some 8K? Yes, they did, yeah. The ROD 8K, I think they bought, it was either 11 or 14, although not all of them were ever worked at the same time. I think they just bought a job lot and then they had spares so that as stuff needed work's attention, another one would go into traffic. I think they had about 9 or 10 at its peak at work at the same time.
Let's have a look. The Growler. Yeah, you're about Engage and your Blackwood Engage layout. Yeah, I will definitely check that out. Definitely.
Yeah, that's your kind of thing, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Right, let's just have a look. Am I at the bottom of the comments? Yeah. Angus's Train, sorry about my typing. My keyboard is glitching. Yeah, I used to have a keyboard that did that. It was most annoying because the letter E would sometimes stop working. And you try and type things without the letter E. It's very difficult. Word to the wise, letter E is the most used letter in English. Let's have a look. Paul Shepherd, any solutions for Hornby points catching the wheels on older locomotives? Could be your back-to-backs, but generally speaking, older locomotives need coarser style track. If you look at old, like say, Hornby 00 or Triang track, what you find is it's something like code 200. I mean, the cross section of the rail is huge, and they have much more generous spacings between the point blades. And unfortunately, it's just that they're not designed for finer scale track. You can try checking the back-to-backs, but I think you probably find that you're just going to struggle with that. Let's have a look. Graph B, I once found some Hornby O-gauge tin plate coaches in a skip. Yeah, actually, whenever I walk past a skip, I always have an eye for what's in there, because I've found books, some actually quite rare books. I've got some books from 1906 that I saved from a skip, and they're a book called The Book of Knowledge, and they're actually really interesting. Yeah. Hideously out of date now, so you know, it's like what it talks about science and ship design is very oldie-worldy. But to see these things in a skip, I thought, oh, I'm having them. So yeah, always keep an eye on skips. You can get some amazing stuff out of them. And it's the ultimate recycling. Let's have a look. Edwards Branch Line Productions. I like your videos and keep it up. Well, thank you very much for that. Let's have a look. Philip Page, Edwards Branch Line Productions. Have you oiled the motor? Ah, yeah. I had an issue with a locomotive. Have an Airfix Royal Scot tender driven. I was wondering how to stop it jittering forward, but it still runs fine backwards. Yeah, I'd say two things you can do with that. Lubricate the gear train, but also make sure that there's not any debris got in there. Their gear chain on those tender drive locomotives is very finicky. If you get even just like bits of scatter, any bits of scenery, they can stick between the teeth and just make like a tight spot. So it's worth just checking the gear chain and making sure there's nothing got stuck in there. Let's have a look. Castle Junction, the new Hornby Class 66 have traction tyres. That is essentially the old Lima model, though, isn't it?
No, well, it was. I mean, I had a couple of them myself, well, I mean, I used to have a lot of the Lima ones, so I mean, I knew what I was buying when I got them, but I've sold them since. I don't know if this is a retooling or not, because I've noticed that they've now got the NEM couplings on, which they didn't have on the original.
I think
so. I don't know whether or not anything else has been retooled, but yeah, I'll be interested to have a closer look at one of these, because obviously you got the Hattons ones are due out.
Yeah, well, people when I was at Ali Pali, people were coming up to me, and one of the things that a lot of people were really quite over the moon about was the Hornby 66, because they said for the money, and they were
for the money, obviously, because I mean they're charging what, £80 I think it is, or £70.
Yeah, but they were. I think that's the RRP, but I'm sure somebody showed me one. It was £60. The retailers were selling them for about £60, and they said even though the detail is clearly not as good, it's not that much worse than the Bachmann ones or what Hattons is proposing. To actually, you know, you can forgive. It's what I always say about Oxford Rail. You forgive a lot on the price.
Well, with the Hattons one, I'll be getting a Hattons one myself. So I shall, because I know you probably won't let a 66 anywhere near your layout, really, would you?
No, that's not true. You've run a 66 in the shed before now.
Have I?
Yeah, a DCC sound one, and it threw a wobbler with all the crossings.
Oh, of course it did.
Which is one of the reasons why up in the loft, at Weir Yard, I've avoided the Pico crossovers simply because the DCC locos basically threw a strop on every single one. Not just one, not just an errant one, but it just seemed to be something in the design makes things short out. So I've steered clear from using them, which is a shame, because when I recycle the shed layout, I think there's 4 out there, and maybe I'll find a way of using them. But certainly, as is, they caused issue with DCC. Let's have a look. Somebody was asking about Philip Page. Is it legal to take things out of a skip? I think technically it's classed as stealing unless you get the permission of the person who's hired the skip.
However, and this is where it gets a bit iffy, because I was watching this actually on a programme not that long ago, actually, on one of these daytime TV programmes, and basically if the skip is placed on a public highway,
right,
and it's not obvious that it's actually in front of one particular property,
right,
then actually it's perfectly fine. because it's on a public highway.
Yeah, I think they'd probably get you for trespass. If it was on somebody's drive, what they would actually do you for is trespass.
Yeah, yeah.
But if it's on the public highway, I guess it's quite reasonable to assume that if it's in the skip, it's unwanted. But it's probably always advisable to try and ask permission first, which is what I did when I was at school. I went and asked permission. And it's also the thing, when I was at university, the IT service hired a skip to dump a whole load of old computers. And this was in the days when your all singing, all dancing computer would have been something like an AMD K6 300 megahertz. And these computers were 486 DX33s, right up to, I think there was a P90 was the most up-to-date computer that was there. Or it might even have been a P75. Certainly an early Pentium. And they hired a skip to dispose of all these old computers that they were replacing. And I went and asked, and they said, well, we can't let you just take stuff, but for accounting purposes, if we draw up a contract and you pay us £1 for every computer you take out, then that's fine. Then everything's covered. We can't be accused of just giving stuff away. And, and I just emptied the skip because I had people who wanted a cheap word processing computer. And I paid for my third year at university all the cost of... see, I was lucky. I didn't have to pay tuition fees. I was the last year that didn't. But all of my accommodation costs, cost of books, cost of living there, transport, all of that, I wheeled and dealed selling second-hand reconditioned computers, and I paid for everything. So it does pay. You can and the IT service was quite happy because they said, "This is great. We thought we were going to have to hire a skip like 5 or 6 times, but we've only ever had to hire one, and we started just like emptying the bins into it to fill it up." They said, "You've actually saved us quite a bit of money. Plus, you paid us £1 for every computer." So, it kind of worked out. Cottesmore, sorry I'm late to the party. Don't worry. It's not a problem because these videos go up on YouTube forever. You can enjoy these videos at a time and convenience to suit yourself. So, if there's anything you've missed, anything you want to watch again, don't worry about it. You go back and do that. That's fine. Let's have a look. What else we got? Derek Grant. If you ask who's hired the skip, you can take. It comes back to permission. Always worth getting a bit of permission. Castle Junction. I'll be waiting for the Hattons one too. I presume this is about the 66.
It is. Yeah. I mean, Charles Curtis, you say you've got one of the new Hornby ones and you really like it. Have you ever had the older one, which was basically the Lima tooling? Have they actually changed the tooling at all? Because I'm interested to know that and how much they put into it if they have changed the tooling. I'll do a review on the Hattons one when I do get round to picking one up. When are they
out?
The Hattons ones at the moment they've only got they've only got the samples at the moment. I think
I saw the samples at Ali Pally, and if anybody wants to watch my my Ali Pally video, just doing a plug here. Plug. In the Ali Pally video, I dwell on the cabinets of the 66s, and the guy at Hattons was very keen on the 66s. They were saying, they've put a lot of effort and a lot of love into those 66s and got them just right as far as they're concerned. So as far as they're concerned, it's going to be the definitive Class 66.
Exactly. I've just sold a Batman one that I sold on eBay over the weekend. The Batman 66 has always been a really good one, but at the same time, I'm not a huge GM fan really, if I'm being honest. But it was a good loco and everything, but I don't know. I always felt there was something not quite right with it. For the scale and everything. I think the previous Lean model just seemed to run a little bit better at times, even though it's a cheaper one.
According to this, these are actually out because it's saying okay.
No, that's let's have a look. Oh yeah, that is the Hattons ones, yeah. Because obviously Hornby have done the same liveries.
So we're looking here.
Northcote favourite loco? Class 37s. That's
oh, you do like your 37s?
I love my 37s. At the moment, I currently have 5 sound fitted at the moment with various different sound chips.
5,
but 3 of them have got different sound chips. So yeah,
I'm looking through here, and what I can see is that 3 of the Hatton's Class 66s appear to be out.
Scroll back up then. Let's have a look at the liveries, because I'm thinking an EWS one.
As you know, there's 2 different liveries. There's not 3, there's 2. So
sound fitted, DCC fitted, etc.
So I'm looking on the Hatton's website. I would say other sites are available, but with these you can only get them from Hatton's. So there's 3 different options. You can have it just DC, DCC fitted, and DCC sound fitted. And we've got both the one that's in the GB Rail Freight, so the rendition of the BR large logo, and then we've also got the Flying Dustman, which the Flying Dustman is definitely one which Hornby have done a model of, and indeed Bachmann have announced it as well. So there are going to be 3 on the market, 3 different price brackets. So my guess is that the Hatton's one is going to be the most expensive, the top of the market, but you're going to get a lot for that. There's going to be a lot of detail, and effectively, if you want the definitive Class 66, I'd guess this is going to be that one. If you want to go for one where, you know, it's going to be cheaper, and I know that it's mysteriously enough, the only model that Bachmann have reduced the RRP on is their 66. And you've got the Bachmann 66.
I've just sold one over the weekend. I actually took it to the post office this morning to
what do you reckon to them as a model?
The detailing is absolutely superb. Can't fault the detailing at all. But unfortunately, the running quality of it, I think, is actually nowhere near as good as the old Hornby one, which is originally the Lima moulding.
Yeah.
Obviously, you've got a better motor inside the Bachmann one. You've got the actual full chassis set up with all-wheel pickup and things.
Yeah, I'm having a look. The Dragon Junction is saying that.
Yeah.
Hi Jennifer, the body is the old tooling. The chassis is updated a little with a new motor.
Well, the new motor might help a lot then, because I always thought that, you know what I mean, with the Bachmann one was a little bit iffy, but the thing is, obviously, with the old tooling and having the old Lima motor was always going to be a bit of an issue. So
the Lima motors weren't renowned for being very good. Very growly, no power to them, no guts. They were like you referred to as a pancake motor. They were little more than the same sort of thing that you'd find in a Hornby tender drive. It's that kind of a thing, wasn't it?
All have the same familiar sound all the
time.
Like. So we mentioned Aidan. Yeah, you bought a Hornby 37, £50. Really, you shouldn't have done that, Aidan. Sorry, mate. The Hornby Class 37s are pretty poor, to be honest. But for the same price, if you hunt around, you can find Vitrains ones.
You've just rained on his parade there.
I know, but the thing is, though, is that the Vitrains ones, obviously Vitrains doesn't exist anymore, but basically the Vitrains 37 is essentially what became Bachmann's first 37, and the Vitrains one is absolutely superb, and there are loads of them out there, and if you hunt them on eBay and try and outbid someone, you'll pick up a fantastically detailed one for 50 quid, really easy, and they're all 8-pin, so you can put a TTS cheap sound chip in it. And the TTS, this is a trick. TTS sound chips, for some locos they're fantastic. For others they're really echoey, not particularly brilliant. The Class 37 is definitely one of those. And the easiest way to get around that is to buy cheap iPhone speakers. You can pick them up for a couple of pound off eBay, and you can wire 2 of these up to just one chip.
Yeah, which you need to do because they're 4 ohm speakers, but the chip kicks out 8 ohms. So if you only wire the single one, you'll blow it. But if you put 2 in series, that makes your 8 ohms.
And then you put one facing up, one facing down. You get a bit of an echo inside the body shell, and you've got an amazing sound. I have a cheap locomotive you can buy for about £50 and a £40 chip.
Yeah. But David Traintime, I've got a video of Hatton 66 that was playing with at Hatton's on a day visit there. Now, funnily enough, I have been invited to Hatton's to do. They want to give me the full behind-the-scenes tour, and one of the things that I will try and get a good look at is any products where they've got either pre-productions, things like that, and try and get a really good in-depth look. Because when I was at Alexandra Palace, and I've got a video up, not just the Ali Pali video, but also you can have a look at my review of the Rails exclusive Terrier versus the Hornby one. So it's quite nice to try and get access to these models before they hit the market, because as modelers, that's what you all want, is to see the model before you lay your money down. And unfortunately, I think a lot of the magazines, because of their editing cycle, by the time the magazine gets to print, the model's already hit the shops, and the review's too late.
Yeah, and I think, to be honest with you, I'm not sure, I might be wrong on this, but I think, looking at that, I think Hattons have brought down the price a little bit on the sound one, because of obviously the Hornby one. Because not everybody wants ultimate detail, and that's perfectly fine. There's always going to be a market for the lesser detail locos.
I'm looking at that £150 for the regular one. Has that price come down? Because I'm sure it was.
I think it has. Yeah, I mean it's only an extra. Is that an extra? Yeah, an extra £15 for the chip fitted.
No, but I'm looking at the basic model at 150.
Because I'm sure before there was like a £20-25 difference in the DCC and non-DCC fitted. I'm sure it was a bigger difference.
No, I'm just thinking that the base price is lower. I'm sure that was up at 165.
265. I think it might be a bit lower than originally planned.
Yeah, I mean, they've come up against some stiff competition, and I know that some of you, Train Sporting Southeast got a new Hornby Class 66 at Ali Pali, so there was a couple of people came up and showed me them, and the standard of finish as well, the tempo printing process that all of the manufacturers use now is so far ahead of what we used to get that even an older model is breathed a whole new life with a really fine tempo printed finish. And the Hornby model is pretty good, and for a lot of people it's the perfect compromise, because it's within their budget, it's not a bad model, and if you're not that bothered about all the fiddly detail things that generally just fall off and have to be re-glued back on, then your quid's in.
But at the same time though, like when I was a lot younger and a lot more skint when it came to models, I cheated because there was a guy that I knew that was just an absolute legend with model trains, and basically all cheap little Hornby things and everything that was around at the time instead of expensive stuff, because it used to be the same thing with Lima many years ago, where Lima was the decent one, Hornby was the cheap and nasty one. And basically I'd just take it to somebody and just say, yeah, do us a favour, stick the extra detail on. That's what Showplan's there for.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I mean, there are companies out there that make the detailing stuff for as much or as little as you want to add to a loco. It's just, you've got to ask yourself, do you want to do it, or do you want to pay for somebody else to?
Exactly, yeah.
Let's have a look. Devan's GWR, an old contractor's loco, has been found in Bromwith Yard on the Gwilly Railway. Now, it's interesting. Did they not know it was there, or is that something that's been there since before the railway was preserved? Sort of dumped in the bushes or something. I don't. You remember Derry, don't you?
Yeah.
Who can forget Derry? Big friend of the channel, and if you look back through the videos, he's given me guided tours of various industrial archaeology places. But he was telling me about there's rumoured to be a buried steam railway locomotive somewhere in the Oswestry area.
The thing is, full well that if there is one there, if anybody will find it, it'll be Derry.
Well, what I do know is they think they may have found it, but there's not as much left as you'd think, because what's actually happened is that anything accessible has been stripped years and years ago, either for spare parts or for scrap. Yeah. So all that's pretty much left is what's sunk into the mud, they reckon, which is the frames, the cylinder block and the wheels.
That's better than now.
Yeah, well, yeah, because boilers are consumables.
Yeah.
But as to finding it, that they have yet to do, but they believe it's probably there somewhere. There are locomotives buried up and down the country, because, for example, not far from here, there was a colliery locomotive that disappeared down a hitherto forgotten about shaft. Basically, it went across the shaft that then caved in, and the locomotive and several wagons disappeared down the shaft and was deemed they just couldn't get it out, so it was buried. Sadly, the driver was killed. I don't believe they were even able to recover him. But then up near Cockermouth, is it, on the Furness Railway, there was a locomotive that fell into a sinkhole and disappeared without trace.
Wow.
And the entire locomotive's down there somewhere. As to how much of that is left and what state it's in, I suspect it's in a pretty bad state. But there are locomotives that have been found underground. There's one in America that they, when they were quarrying somewhere, they found it buried, and they believe it was probably an old locomotive from the quarry, which when it had broken down and was beyond economical repair, they just buried it. We've got Richard Parker in. Hello from Mississippi, USA. Right, so
Hindley South Station.
Yeah, Philip Page, Hindley South Station, and it's still there. Yeah, it will still be at the bottom of that shaft.
Yeah.
It'll be all crushed with all the stuff that's gone down on top of it, and rotted away with groundwater. But yeah, it'll be there.
And also, apparently, there's one of their ATFs in Baghdad.
Yes, Iraq is another place. Iran and Iraq is another place the ATF's got to. They got around. So I know that they got to Turkey, Austria, France, Iraq, possibly Iran, China. They got all over Hungary. A lot of these places got rid of them fairly early on, and they'd have gone for scrap. But places like Turkey and Iraq and China were still using them until comparatively late, and then they just got dumped on scrap lines and forgotten about. So Duvan's GWI was dumped and covered over when the yard was extended.
Oh.
Interesting. So would that have been before the preserved railway then? So that would have been sort of way back when. So it's what sort of vintage is it? Do you have any pictures? I'm actually really interested to see what's been found there. So Duvan's GWI, if you've got any pictures or links to anything, I'd love to see that. Yeah, pre-groupie. So that'd be quite an old piece of kit.
Yeah.
I'd be really interested to see what. And is it complete? I mean, how much is there? Because presumably it was just after they finished building the railway, it was just deemed surplus to requirements and dumped. 1857.
Wow.
Gosh, what state is it in? I mean, has it actually been dug out?
I would have thought a lot of it would have been eaten away over time. I would have thought, but
possibly. But then again, if it's in an anaerobic condition, the steel wouldn't rust as much as you'd think. Because when the Bluebell Railway dug out the tip to extend back to East Grinstead, they found scrap metal in the tip. They'd just been dumped back when scrap metal was worthless in the 1970s. And what they said is that because of the anaerobic environment, the metal hadn't rusted.
Just the boiler found. Well, I mean, if the boilers survived that long, then there's no reason why the rest of it wouldn't. Because, I mean, obviously, the boiler's the first thing that usually rots away, isn't it?
Yeah, so it's interesting. I mean, presumably at some point it must have been attached to the rest of it.
Yeah.
So the rest of it must be there. Get the Geofizz boys out from Time Team. They'll find it for you.
It's an interesting
That's
one,
interesting.
That,
yeah.
Especially for you with pre-grouping as well.
Well, no, 1857 is veteran. That's era one. You know, that's veteran sort of stuff. So that's likely to be a locomotive that no examples otherwise survive in preservation. That'd be interesting. Let's have a look. What else have we got? David Trento. Have a look at my behind the scenes at Hattons, Jenny. I went in November. Oh, interesting. I know they're very keen on social media influencers, as it was described to me. So I've got an invite to Hattons, and I'm going to take them up on that possibly next week. So obviously I'll film a lot, and there'll be some videos with that.
Oh, that's an interesting one for Bluebell.
Transporting Southeast at Bluebell Rail, we found J94 in bushes in Horsted Keys. We think dumped by a member in 1955. So someone decided to restore it. Interesting. So I take it that's well, I presume is it a J94 or a Hunslet Austerity? There's a lot of the rivet counter boys get really particular about this because the J94s were the ones that were sold to the London and North Eastern Railway and passed into BR ownership. But the Hunslet Austerities were the industrial ones. I think there are some differences because the LNER had a few modifications carried out.
Yeah, I know nothing about steam, but I remember this one because you've explained it to me two or three times.
I know nothing. I learn about J94s from a book. Ben Davis. I got 2 of the new Hornby Terrier. They are Rolvenden in Kent and East Sussex Railway Blue and Southern Railway 2662. Now, it's something that I said in the review I did, the exclusive review, exclusive, yeah. I was there at the right time, and he was in a good mood. But something I did say is that they're both fine locomotives. The Hornby one, it runs really well, and it's a lot better than the older Hornby model. It really does capture the shape and the presence. And if it were the only one that was on the market, we'd all be raving about it. But I think it feels in places like they rushed, and it's the finer detail. So for the average punter, you're really not going to notice much difference. But once you see some of the... For me, the big kicker was the representation of the motion under the boiler. Once you saw it, you realised it's actually quite obvious. The stuff in the cab, you could, be quite happy with the Hornby version. It is a very good offering. But the rails one just kind of takes it to a next level. In a way, it's probably like the Hatton 66 will take the 66 to a new level. And then you've got the Bachmann as the intermediate, and then you've got the budget Hornby.
Yeah, I mean, basically from the programme that was on TV, you could tell that, obviously Rails have taken this loco that has been like a staple for Hornby for so many years, but at the same time has been, railroad range type. In
Railroad
the
range,
yeah,
at top whack prices.
and of course they've put so much effort, so much time into it, and they've shown off a little bit with some of the details. You'd like the cab detail. I mean, they really have gone to town with that, and that's fantastic. And then of course, as soon as Hornby find out about that, they've got to then rush a new tooling out quick, because it has been one of their staple things to sell for a long time. So you can understand why Hornby thought that they better do something about it. But as Jenny says, it looks like they have rushed it a little bit, because obviously they've had to get them out a lot quicker than the Rails one, and Rails were already doing it when they found out. So
yeah, it feels rushed. The best way I can describe it is normally in the process, they'll have like test shots from the moulds, and then they'll find a few things that need tweaking and get the moulds updated, get another test shot. And there'll be things like that, and there'll be things where people think really long and hard, like, how are we going to do this detail? What's the best way to do that? How can we get the best effect? And they'll put a lot of time and effort into it, and the model will get slowly refined, and then eventually they'll get a pre-production that they're happy with, and that's what goes into production. With the Hornby model, it feels like that process has been very rushed.
Yeah.
And rather than refining certain bits, it's almost like that first pre-production model, which is a good model, hasn't had the little niggles and the things where people gone, maybe it'll be a better way of doing that. It hasn't had that done. And the interior of the cab feels a little bit like, it's like, good enough. It's like, we've got a solution, it'll work, it'll be fine, it's not perfect, but we can get it out quicker. That's how the Hornby one felt for me, and it's not a bad model. And I keep having to stress this: it's not a bad model, and it is cheaper. So it comes back to your budget thing. If you're happy with that, and it is a good model, then it's fine. But if you want an all singing, all dancing one, and you're prepared to pay, I think it's about 30 quid more or something, the Rails one have got you covered. And I think that the market's big enough for both of them. And that's really why.
I think this is the same situation as with the 66. I can honestly see Bachmann just bringing out the occasional one only and just leaving it now between sort of like Hattons and Hornby, if the Hattons one is, as good as we think it is. So yeah, no, the same kind of thing really. I think that, Hornby have always produced a cheap version of something, but in these two things, they've actually produced something that is actually half decent for the money on the cheaper side of it, which makes a nice change. So yeah. I don't think that we should be giving Hornby too much grief for it. Maybe the choice on locos against other things, definitely.
I think, one of the reasons I think Rails went for it is because years and years have gone by. And, I can remember 10 years ago people saying, we'd love a proper, fully, done Terrier. And for years, Hornby have been putting that model out at top-notch prices, and what is now becoming very quickly a railroad-type model. It was a good model in its day, don't get me wrong, but it has a lot of faults, and I think people got tired of asking Hornby to retool it when it didn't appear that they were going to. And, as an indication of how rushed out the Terrier is. If you look in the Hornby catalogue, there's a Western Point, Cleveland and Portishead Railway liveried Terrier in there. They've still got stock in the warehouse, and this is the older model, and they've brought the newer model to market, and the newer model is slightly cheaper because the older model's at the older price, and there's no way in a million years they're going to sell those. So it says...
At the same time, though, one thing that you have to remember, though, about Hornby is that if you have a look at everything that they've retooled over the past 10 years, that it is almost half of their catalogue. And I mean, even with the modern image stuff, you look like they've just done the 87. There was the 56, the 60, the 31.
Yeah,
and I mean, obviously on the Steam side, it'd be a lot as well. And they've actually done some really good jobs on most of those. I mean, you look at the model of the 50 and the 56; they are outstanding.
But if they were planning the Terrier for what would normally be the normal gestation period, they would not have put into production that Western Point, Cleveland and Portishead Railway Terrier in the older style model. They wouldn't have made it because they would have known we've got this newer model coming out. We don't want the older model on the market. Effectively, what you do is, it's a bit like how Bachmann always do it. A model will disappear from the range for a couple of years. You get the pent-up demand going, and then the new model comes out.
As the Bachmann 158. Same thing.
Yeah, and the other thing as well is you've got to remember Hornby got told off a lot of ill feeling from burning retailers. And what have they gone and done with the Terrier? And this is something that's never been talked about. It's not been mentioned on that TV programme. There are retailers who, in good faith, got stocks of the older Hornby model as they were releasing them. They still have those Terriers on the shelf, brand new. There's no way they can sell them at the prices they paid for them. So they've shafted a lot of retailers in this, and that all points to Hornby rushed that model. Rails and Dapol were well ahead of them when they announced, and they've gone from zero to hero and rushed that model out because they learnt the hard way with the Adams Radial. If you're going head to head with a competitor, you can't afford to be the second to the market. And with the Radial, Hornby were like nearly a year late with that, and the market was cleaned up. Oxford Rail had hoovered up all the sales. It was too niche. Now the Terrier isn't too niche. There's so many different liveries, there's so many different identities, and the class was so long lived. The fact that the older model still kept selling year after year after year, despite people clamouring for an updated model, said that there is plenty of market there. And it's a bit like the Class 8s. There's always a market for the Class 8s. And I describe the Terrier as being a bit like the Bachmann versus Hornby Class 8s, whereby the Bachmann model's a really good model. It's perfectly well detailed, but if you want that extra bit of detail, but you're happy to pay that extra bit of money, there's the Hornby model. And the Hornby Terrier versus the Rails Terrier is kind of like that. And there is the market to support both of them. But I think Hornby have been a little bit naughty, and they're not quite owning up to the fact that, yes, they did fast-track that model. And the model has, in some areas, suffered for it, but not like... It's not a deal breaker.
It's hugely sneaky how they've done it. But at the same time, I do think that there is... I can understand when it's been a staple of Hornby's.
Oh, we've got Divans GW. I have one photo. How should I send it to you?
Oh, that's cool.
Are you able to... Are you able to post it online and post a comment? Would that be all right? We don't really have any other way of it getting through. That's the problem.
Also, as well, transport is southeast. I think it's austerity. I've got to look on Tuesday. I'm going to start cleaning it off. Found the nameplate called Hugo.
Interesting. We've got all the copper.
Yeah.
So it's not been stripped or anything. So it's interesting. How did nobody know it was there? That's the thing that gets me.
Just hidden in the bushes. That's amazing, is that?
God, does nobody go for a pee in the bushes?
And of course, Dorothy was the loco at Hindley.
Right.
Yeah. So thanks for that, Philip.
Right. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Let's have a look. Ben Davis, I would love to get behind the scenes tours with Hattons. It would be a dream come true. I must admit, actually, I was quite chuffed when he offered it, because I never thought in a million years that that riffraff like me round the back. You know, I can remember the good old days of Hatton's at Smithdown Road, and you know, you'd never get to the other side of the counter.
You couldn't even get to the other end of the shop. It was that packed.
Oh God, yeah.
I remember it very well.
Yeah, if there's more than 2 people in there, you're like, excuse me. And
But I never left without at least 10 items, though. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
they always had loads of stuff, and I always run out of money before I run out of ideas.
yeah, you ran out of money before he ran out of things to sell you.
Yeah.
He was, I mean, it was a gold miner stuff. I remember going in there with my dad, and it was just like, it was an Aladdin's cave. And if Norman was in a good mood and he liked the look of you, he'd bring some gems out of the stock room that he'd sort of blow the dust off. Like, and it'd be stuff he'd bought in the Meccano bankruptcy sale 30 years previously.
He never liked me that much. I never got that.
See, I was a little kid who like, you've heard me train spot out all of the info on stuff. I'm like a sponge for little weird bits of information. So as like an 8-9-year-old kid, I could hold conversation with Norman Hatton about Hornby 00 and Meccano products because I was like an encyclopedia for all the little bits of information. And I think he appreciated that. And in me as a little snot-nosed kid, he saw somebody who would look after them. And that was the thing about Norman, is if he thought that you were you know, somebody who was going to respect the model, going to look after it, not mistreat it, and you weren't out to make a quick profit out of him, he'd let you have stuff at a knockdown price. You know, he'd make the price up on the spot, and he'd sell you stuff which you could have gone and immediately flipped it and sold it and like tripled your money. But if he knew you weren't going to do that, he was quite happy to help the next generation of modelers. And you know, I had a lot of time for Norman, and yeah, he could be a bit sulky at times. If he was having a bad day, he was like really miserable as sin. But he had a heart of gold. And you know, I got on well with him. I was really sad actually when he passed away. I remember seeing him not long before he passed away, and he was they'd moved to the new shop, and he used to be in his. They had him in a wheelchair with his blanket over the top, and he'd sort of sit there and snooze and sleep. And he still remembered who I was. I'd go in and I'd say, "Hi Norman, nice to see you again." And you know, you could see in his eyes, it was like, "Yeah, I know you. Yeah, you're still looking after that stuff." And yeah, I was actually, I feel myself getting all emotional now talking about it. I always get really sad when people I know pass away, but I did shed a tear when Norman passed away. What do we got?
For sending the photo.
Facebook. Actually, that might get through to me.
That might be a quick way of doing it.
Yeah, if you, in fact, if you find, there should be a page on Facebook, the Jennifer E. Kirk page. I don't like to call it the fan page because that, I just like my ego gets bigger. It's not a fan page, but you know, Facebook has these pages for people. You know, if you're in the media, and I've got there's one on there.
I am totally amazed about this though with the you know, with this Hugo, because looking through looking at carriages restoration, and get a glint of copper, and it's like the amount of copper that gets stolen these days. It's like, how did you manage to come across this and it still be there? I'm absolutely amazed by it.
Philip Page, Flickr. Has it come through?
Oh, did it come through as just hover the thing? Or is that a... No, it's not, no.
Hold on, let's just see.
Is that... Oh, okay.
Can we... No.
No.
Sorry, Philip Page, Flickr link. I'm not seeing the Flickr link. Is that... I'm just scrolling up. It doesn't appear to have... Oh, why is it doing this? It seems to have edited out your Flickr link. Not sure. We are going to have to get back to you on that. For whatever reason, it's not given us the link. Hi there to New Mills Model Railway and Mr. Dreaded 88. Good to see you. We've got the regulars coming in. Let's have a look. Train Sporting South East. We were looking at carriages for restoration, and I spotted glint of copper, and we started looking in bushes. We cut the bushes back. We found everyone was spread. Yeah, an entire... how do you lose a Hunslet austerity? I think you have to allow a link. Oh, apparently it's right.
Might be easy just to put up your Facebook page on there, and then we'll be able to see it then.
Yeah, just give me. Oh, no, I'm not logged. This computer, I'm not logged in on. Oh, this is awkward. This is awkward. Let me work it out. Right, where's the super chat? Where's chat? Oh, it's popped the chat out. Store chat.
I think we're still there somewhere.
Let's try that. Done. Okay. Try posting it again. It may have made an assumption. Let's have a look. Right. I think I have to allow a. I'm not sure how I allow a link. I can't find an option. Oh no. I'm just clicking on. See, manage. I cannot actually find. That link should work. Let me. How do we do this? It's not that one. Let's see if I can find. I can't find an option. I'm really sorry. I can't find an option to. Can I PM it to you? Yeah. If you PM it to me. PM on. Is that on YouTube? So you can tell I'm a techno ludder. Oh, hold on. One moment. Zoe.
Hello.
Is there any way to allow links to be posted on the chat? I can't find an option to do it.
Hi there. Hello, everyone.
Yeah. Who's in the house? Zoe is in the house. See what I mean? So just technical glitch here.
No.
It's posted a link, but it's not showing up, and I can't find an option to allow links. Can we find an option?
Probably just not while you're actually on the stream.
Yeah, possibly.
If you put some spaces in the chat, that should work.
If you do the cunning thing that we always used to do on, do you remember Friends Reunited? And
They wouldn't allow a link, and you had to.
Yeah, had to pay to put your email address in. So people got very creative at spelling out their email
Have you
address.
turned the thing so that this is very strange. That
Yeah.
Yeah, you're kind of on it now.
That's
Jen was hogging the screen when I checked in earlier.
There's nothing new there.
No, there isn't. There really isn't. Okay, I'll see you later, guys.
That's weird. I'm looking at the time delay, and that's not us.
I would turn it off if I were you.
That's freaky. Sorry.
I would turn the live dashboard off if I were you. Not that. That.
What, completely off?
Yeah. Because it's slowing your stream down.
Oh, is it? That might be why some people go to live chat, not top chat.
Oh yeah, go back up to.
Ah. That's Why has it done that? Why does it think I want to not get all the messages? It's my chat, of course. Right. We're
Thank you, technical person.
Yes.
See you later, guys.
Thanks for that. Dorothy. Right. Yes. There we are.
Dorothy as in friend of Dorothy, or Dorothy
Yeah.
as in Dorothy.
Bring me nice things. Do we have any are there any of those donuts left?
Yeah.
Donut?
Yes, my jam donuts.
Donut.
You've already had all the custard ones. Hogging donuts.
Right. Let's have it. Oh, Ladybird. Right, no problem. Right there. We got there in the end. Right. Yeah, for some reason. So I do apologise if some people's messages have like you thinking, why is she ignoring me? It's because YouTube has decided that I don't need to see all the messages. It's like, you just want top comment. Like, what the hell's top comments? How is it deciding? Surely I get.
Comments, basically, I'll filter out things that you might find offensive, but it doesn't actually know you, so it just filters things randomly until it gets it right.
Ooh.
How many of these? Oh, there's 3 left, 1 each. You don't like this, do you?
I'm not so keen. No. I might be tempted.
Choke it down. Behind you.
Yeah.
Oh, go on then. I'll have a jammy doing this.
You'll choke it down.
Do not mind if I do.
Yeah. Put the heating on, would you? It's getting chilly. Oh, incidentally, the loft hatch broke.
I know, you told me.
Yeah, but I forgot to get something to repair it.
Alright.
So, yeah, the loft hatch broke. So we currently, the loft hatch is wide open and can't close it.
Your live streams are very random. See you later.
Yeah, our live streams are really random, right?
Yes.
There you
There you go.
go. Oh. New Mills Model Railway, can you post me a strongbow? Yeah, hold on. It won't fit in the pipe, I'm sorry. You'll have to suck harder. Oh. We need to do this so only one of us is stuffing our face at any one time. Otherwise, it's like one of those voyeur videos where... And that, this is something I've seen on YouTube. I'm not gone looking for them. But videos of people smoking cigarettes are really popular.
Why?
I don't know. I saw this video and it's like, girl smokes cigarette. And she's just puffing away on a cigarette for like 30 seconds. And the video's got 500,000 hits. What's that about?
Very weird. Very weird.
Yeah, so there's weird stuff on the internet. Yeah. It's like that, and there's that app for comedians to meet each other called Grindr. Just thought I'd throw that out there.
Okay, that was a conversation killer. So yeah.
Oh, we got W. Mobius. Hello, Jennifer. Greetings from Hamburg.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
And a good day from Melbourne, Australia, from DT Head.
Oh, Dragon Junction. Fetish. Yeah, actually, it's weird. Yeah, there's people have weird fetishes, like shoes as well, like old shoes. I've got a friend who... No, bear with me. This is where this is going. I've got a friend who... She sells her old football boots. She plays football. And she's found that there are strange people on eBay who will pay her 3 times what the boots cost brand new just to get a pair of boots off her that she's worn for a game. Not because she's famous or anything, but just because they like dirty football boots. It's really weird. Apparently, we've got a troll in, so let me just fix that. There we go. Transporting sidings. We had to crane it out because the sidings were removed. When were the sidings removed? And when they were removing them, did nobody say, shouldn't we move that so it's no longer in the bushes?
Yeah. I mean, you'd think it'd be sort of like quite easy while the siding was already there, just to drag it out and, you know, make use of it somehow.
Philip Page, I fixed the troll. Basically, they came, they tried to offend, they failed, they left. So, as I take it, has the troll disappeared for everybody else as well? Now, I just want to check because I'm not quite sure how this works. So, when I hide user from the channel, does it hide it from everybody? Or have I just basically meant that I'm not seeing it, but everybody else is being plagued by trolls? Let's just double check. Just remove? I don't know. No, we're not.
Definitely not.
Tom Raybold, yes, troll eliminated. Thank you for that. Also, if anybody is being hassled by anybody, just let me know and I will deal with the troll. Because he is still here, but message is deleted. Oh, brilliant, grand. So basically just shout it. Mute.
Fair enough.
Train Sporting Southeast, it was in 1958 they removed the siding and only removed track that can reuse or sit.
Oh, right, okay, yeah.
So basically they salvaged the track for use elsewhere and presumably kind of thought, well, we'll put it back when we get some more track, but at the moment we just need some track. Hello to you, I like transport. Let's have a look. So, can I ask, was the troll posting lots of trolley stuff and I just wasn't seeing it because YouTube decided to ruin my chat experience? If so, that I do apologise. If you've, if you're being bothered by somebody being a, I'm trying to say it without swearing. You know what I mean? If somebody's being special, then do let me know and I will deal with it. Because quite often, if we start talking on a tangent, we might not be looking at the chat coming through. So it's quite easy to miss stuff. So just let me know if there's a problem going on. Let's have a look.
Are you having trolls?
Oh, yeah, we've had a troll. We've dealt with it.
Just ban him.
Did.
And then go round to his house and slap him.
Is that like in Jay and Silent Bob, where they turn up and it's like, do you go by the username of, and did you post? And it's like, yeah, it's me. Smack.
See you later.
See you later. Oh, right. If you were pouring hot water in a pot noodle, are you? Okay, don't bother about it.
You have a serious addiction to pot noodles, by the way.
It's not poodle. Right, if you click on a name, you can block them. Ah, right. Yeah. Well, I'll go back and make sure. So, yeah, it's that. Yeah, they are blocked. Yeah, they're blocked. So presumably that means that they'll PM'd it to my Facebook. Devon's GWR. Thank you for that. Let's just let's see if I can find it. The Book of Face. Oh wait a minute. Oh, I'm not logged in on that one. Right. Aha! My trusty phone tells me that I have a PM. This is right. I see. Exciting discovery made at Bronith. So my Welsh pronunciation is very. Have we got trolls turning? It just we're gonna have to keep an eye on it. Right. Yeah, I'm just having a look at the article. Let's have a look. During excavation for the pit foundations in the new engine shed at Bronith Arms, an exciting discovery was made. Contractor hits hard object. Oh, Dr. Obscure. Hello from the left coast of Oregon. I think you can get a cream for that. No, sorry, just joking. I had booze. Give me some leniency. Let's have a look. That actually doesn't look too bad. I take it the picture on the link you've sent me. Is that the actual boiler? Because that looks in pretty good shape.
Surely that can't be. Can it?
That just looks really. Oh, photograph left showing the boiler after being coated with a preservative paint on the mounted.
But it's still complete though.
And mounted on the two sets of wheels and track that are also found. That actually looks in remarkably good condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm interested to see how that develops. Oh, thanks for that link. That's really interesting. Thanks for that. Yeah, difference due to actual boiler. That looks in remarkably good condition, which bodes well if you can find the rest of the locomotive. But then it begs the question, why were they separated? It's almost as if the boiler, could the boiler have been pressed into use as something like, say, for example, a stationary boiler for producing steam, and that's why there's nothing with it. And the bogie wheels that it's saying and the track that was found with it, that could have been to be able to move the boiler between two different areas of the yard. I know that, for example, old traction engines would sometimes they'd end their days being used as a source of steam, to sterilise soil at things like plant nurseries. It's obviously very important. You don't want weeds, you don't want bugs. You sterilise the soil before you then grow stuff in it. It may be that boiler's been used for a task like that. So there may not be anything else to find, but it'd be interesting to know. I'm interested to follow that.
Also, I'm interested in that as well for transport in South East. So obviously, if the owner of Hugo died in 1990, and the family didn't know anything about it, kind of thing. But yes, selling it for grand total of £1.
Presumably because it's
simply,
the family wouldn't want it, and the problem is that the cost of removal, and then there's probably also a question mark that if they tried to ask for more money, then I suppose technically the Bluebell could go, well, actually you owe us
rent since
you owe us
1990
storage
or something
fees.
like that. Yeah, so no, I mean it's that's there's two fantastic stories going on here about two fabulous locomotives, and I'm interested in both. But this one, I mean, let's face it. I mean, you find a complete loco just hidden in the bushes that's been there for a couple of decades at least. You know what I mean?
How complete? What I mean, was it just looked like an austerity sat there in the bushes, or was it part dismantled? I mean, I
could just imagine the looks on people's faces when they actually do. You know, I mean, when you actually found it, and you think about the moment on the main line, and you've got signalling cable thefts and things like that for copper wiring and things like that. And this has just been sat there, in the middle of the bushes. So I'm really intrigued by that. So thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, really, really interesting to see. Hello to the guy who would not share his name. Nice to see it. We've had him before, but you keep he. Okay. Well.
Okay.
Well, hello to you. Right.
I think you've got a stutter.
Might have a sticky key there. Just give that little, give it a tap. That's just anybody who's wondering when we're going on about Hunslet austerities. I'm going to bring up the web page, and let's see, 8. This is the Hunslet austerities. So what we're actually talking about is one of these. As you can see, that's quite a big locomotive to find in the bushes. Ham Shackleton, good to see you too. Hi, Jen and guest. This is Brian, by the way. We should probably name drop from time to time.
Yeah, probably should. Yeah,
people drop in and out. So if you weren't at the beginning, it's like, who are you? Who are you? But I like transport. Sorry you got to go. Bye. Well, look, it's been great to have you along. Don't forget to tune in next week as well. We'll be here. Well, I say we. I'll be here. It's a royal we. I'll be here from 7 o'clock is the plan. But I know today we were late starting, actually quite late, due to technical issues and the fact that we got so engrossed in what we were doing. And it's like, oh no, live stream. So don't worry about it. That guy who would not share his name, spam mode kicked in, LOL. Right, yeah. New Mills Model Railway with all these hidden gems of locos makes you wonder the myth of the strategic reserve. Wonder if the let me just move that over there, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree with that as well. I mean, there was always this rumour that, there was this huge amount of strategic reserve locomotives, post-war that would, be hidden around the country just in case they should ever be needed again for another world war.
Yeah, but come on, I mean, when you think about it, the amount of stuff that's been flogged off by the government, could they really resist not flogging them off as well?
No chance. I mean, I think, to be honest with you, I think you're always going to find little gems like these that have been deliberately hidden away by, basically, people that have owned them, that it's their complete and utter, toy, it's their pet project, if you like, and things like that. And then they get it to an age where they can't do anything with it. They don't want anybody else to have it. I can see that kind of thing happening a few times.
Well, there was that Class 47, it used to be at Cinderby Station next to the A1,
Yeah.
and with all those, were they Mark IIs or something?
I think there was 2 or 3 Mark III sleepers there as well, and the bogies off them are actually worth a lot of money.
I didn't get the bogies though, did he? They're part of the sale. They were sat on scrap accommodation bogies.
Ah, okay.
The bogies weren't included in the sale. He was a dentist or something from Northallerton.
Yeah.
Complete and utter eccentric, and he bought these things and resisted all attempts for people to restore them. Just let them rot into the ground, and ultimately, when they built the A1M motorway to replace the A1, that particular site disappeared under the motorway, so they had to go. And all of the coaches, as far as I'm aware, just went for scrap.
I do believe one of the Mark IIIs did survive.
Right.
But having said that, the thing is about Mark III coaches is because a lot of parts on them are very, very valuable. Well, they have been up to now anyway, simply because the sleeper trains are in use, and most of the sleepers have either been scrapped, exported even. That's a good one actually. I can't remember what country it was. I think it might have been Hungary, I think. Yeah. Somebody shared something on Facebook where quite a lot of Mark III sleepers have been exported for sleepers across one of the European countries, and they've been using them for ages, and they had nicknamed the Englishmans. So yeah, they did get about quite a fair bit, but the ones that survived in preservation, because of the fact they're a Mark III and can't go over very tight curves or old point work, they don't really survive. They basically just get put on scrap bogies and they get used for accommodation for the staff that are there. So when I say Mark III surviving in preservation, it's used very loosely.
Yeah, they're just like they're volunteer accommodation.
Yeah,
you see them at a lot of rails. You see some of the earlier sleepers as well getting used for that.
Yeah,
because they're not really of any use to them as anything else, but they're just accommodation.
Yeah, the one at East Lancs, I've slept in that quite a few times with a hangover.
What sort of state is it in inside?
One of the guys that was there when I volunteered there was really fanatical about restoring it to original condition with, you know what I mean, he did a really good job on it, and it was hooked up to a generator more or less all the time, so that one was really, really good. But I've heard some horror stories about some.
I can imagine like kipping down, watching the roaches climb the walls sort of thing. But yeah, look at that, transporting southeast. Well, it was nearly all complete, but the coal bunker gone some reason. When we see it, had a panic attack, joys have autism. I mean, I'll be honest, I mean, if we go back to the picture, you can see there the coal bunker. I think you can see my mouse pointer. That's the coal bunker, but that's a lot of locomotive to just misplace in the bushes. And I presume that this is a locomotive, that it doesn't appear on any register of locomotives. Nobody knew it existed. So I presume that means that the tally of surviving austerities has just gone up by one.
Well, wasn't a lot of them kind of not really registered with any numbers as such?
Well, no, they knew
the industrial use kind of thing.
Well, they knew who owned them, and generally speaking, people knew what had happened to them. A lot of them do survive because when preservation started kicking off, a lot of these were in industrial use still, with like the National Coal Board in particular. So it meant that there was a steady supply of them plus parts. They're really easy to work on. They were pretty cheap. You could get them in working order. And a lot of lines bought them because it was like, hey presto, instant working steam locomotive.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of them. You're talking about hundreds of them built. So, yeah, and they do survive quite well. There are still a few around which have never turned a wheel in preservation. There's the Gate Guardian at Cefn Coed Colliery in South Wales, which I think it's the next valley along from the Swansea Valley. The colliery's actually been turned into a mining museum, but the Cefn Coed Hunslet Austerity, it's been there since I was a small kid. It's never moved, and it's just at the top of the car park, slathered in paint, and used to let kids climb all over it. I certainly did. I can remember climbing up on the very top of it, and climbing along the top of the saddle tank. It's probably horrendously dangerous. But the thing fascinating me, you could open the smoke box door. It was possible to open the smoke box door and actually climb inside. And I can remember in the cab, theoretically you could just climb inside the firebox. David, train time. I'm off now. Got to get up early. Thanks for a great stream. Well, you're welcome. Well, thank you very much for joining us. It's been great to have you all along. And actually, we should probably wrap this up as well because we've got some work to do. And I'm also mindful that we probably can't cut any wood now because it's too late. What?
Probably not. No, it's getting on a bit now.
10:15.
We have a bit of a top secret mission.
Hey, stop telling me. We're not supposed to talk about that. Oh, Angus's Trains is back. Hi to you. Bye to you. Really sorry that we're going to have to go. We've done an hour and a half, which is about good. Let's have a look. Right, Transporting Southeast. They said we pay for crane out. We start to raise the money to restore. Well, look, good luck with that. That's great. And Charles Curtis, there is an old wooden railway van in some woods near me. It's just rotting away. There's quite a few about. Lots of grounded van bodies out and about. But anyway, look, we're going to say a big goodbye. Don't forget 7 o'clock Jenny's Monday Club next week. I'm going to try and be there at 7. Could be a little bit later depending on how Ops is doing. But Transporting Southeast have no record of it, but we're posting onto the bigger railway world until we're at least 10,000 to start. We're hoping for Heritage Lottery funding. Certainly, I think that sounds to be a really deserving project because that's actually quite magical. Restoring a locomotive that nobody even knew existed. That's great. Yeah. Graph B, another great Monday Club. Enjoyed it as usual. Thank you very much. And a big thank you to my special guest, Brian.
Thank you for having me.
Who we plugged your channel. We'll plug it again. Northcote Road.
Northcote Road, yes.
So have a look on that. You're going to be putting up some new videos.
I will be doing soon.
And we've done a couple of videos on this channel, so you can go and have a look there as well. And also don't forget, still got my Rails exclusive Terrier review. And I don't think anybody else has been allowed that. I've been quite lucky. I've really caught John from Rails in a really good mood. So I have to really thank him for that, actually, because that was he could easily have gone, no, push off, who are you? But he was really generous about it. But what's that? Transporting Southeast. Bye, Jenny, and I know about your secret project. What? He knows about our secret project to put a curry on the moon.
Oh, well, now you've gone and sold everything.
Oh, no, it's the prayer of chicken korma in the Sea of Tranquility. Good night to you, Divans, GWR. But look, thanks to all of you. It's been great having you along. Don't forget, you can also catch up on any bits that you missed and also rewatch this from YouTube. And I'll see you next week. And in the meantime, we've got, what have we got? I've got some more. I think there's another interview that I did with somebody high up at Bachmann. That's to go up as well. Some interesting stuff talking about the new models there. He gave me a good guided tour. And also, what else have we got coming up? There's also going to be, I think, all the Ali Pali footage has been... Oh, of course! I helped break a world record. How could I spend the night not talking about that? That was where I was yesterday. Busy day yesterday. And a big shout out to my friend Simon A.C. Martin. He's also on YouTube. And he does great British railway stories. But he's also a big Volvo fan, as am I. So The Beast, a.k.a. my Volvo, and his Volvo, a.k.a. Victor, were there taking part in the Volvo 600 world record attempt, and we smashed that record. As far as we're aware, I believe they had about 2,200 Volvos through the gate, and they were only expecting, I think, as an outside chance of like 1,500 they printed numbers for, so totally smashed it. The current record was 570. We're definitely going to have like 1,500, if not more. So it's brilliant. Great to have you all along. Look, you all take really, really good care of yourselves, and hopefully I'll see you again next time. This is me, Jenny Kirk, saying it's been great to have you along. Really humbled and honoured that you chose me to spend your Monday evening with. But until next time, bye for now.